This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. Madam Clerk.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made as required, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Municipal Building at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025.
If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation given by Deputy Mayor Sheepa Uden. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all.
If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there's to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Barrison?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Karazi?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik? Deputy Mayor Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
There's no proclamations or commendations. Open to the public session. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. We're now open to the public, 5 minutes a person. No yielding of time, may come up once. Please state your name and address.
Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive. Just wanted to go over two things. One is to recognize a member of the local Franklin community, Ms. Chanel Robinson. Just wanted to recognize her as far as not just being our commissioner for Somerset County, but also getting appointed as president of the actual county of the president of the executive board of the commissioners for the state of New Jersey. Being that she's recognized there, I think it's a valuable opportunity for us as a society to actually take advantage of that, because she will be recognized around the state. We're in Franklin Pride, but also as a representative for Somerset County. So we should be actually commending that. That's kind of a success tree that comes off this town council, and actually we should be recognizing that as we go along. So if there's not a proclamation that needs to be done, I ask one to be done for her on that recognition at all. The second portion is for February 15th. There's actually an event that's going to be done at the community center, which is during Black History Month. It's Black History Month, the Underground Experience at all. That's going to be a production that's going to be on February 15th. That recognition will be actually put out there again by one of the representatives that's sponsored by the caucus, Ms. Robbins and Ms. Bettina Jao. Also, so that's going to be recognized. It's going to be from 2 to 5. I just want to recognize that out there also. Now I have some specific questions that are actually there, because this will go to the town council board, but it'll come up this year also. Being that there was a mandate done, and I had this discussion, I guess, indirectly with Mr. Wright right before about the affordable housing at all. So I just want to go backtrack. For our town council, I specifically asked this almost the last 3 years. We said we failed our affordable housing quota a while ago, and that's on record. We stated that. Based on the state reporting, that's not the case, and I just want to make sure we're clear about that, right? And now, with the state reporting, it's saying we're owed more affordable housing to actually do that in this area. So I want to know, is there a study being done? Is there going to be public sessions about that altogether, and how we're going to resolve that? Because based on the planning reports that were actually done, there's some inaccuracies that will be done and reported, and I don't know why. And I just want to make sure we're clear about that, because it seemed like we were being perceived that we were above and beyond what we were doing, and the state report says that's not correct. And I just want to make sure why it is. And again, we can go over that at the end, because, again, 2 minutes left. So again, the other thing is, I just want to ask this specific question to the town council, because this is what Somerset County said, or the planning board actually said. So on Hamilton Street, because I'm on the Hamilton Street Advisory Board, I asked specifically about the streetscape. We had this conversation publicly with Vasanella over the last probably couple months or whatever. So in 2029, they're projected to try to do more reporting. Now, they said they talked to the town council. I want to know specifically from who on the town council they've been meeting with, because there was a report that was said that was given around September 19th, 2024, that was done, and I have no records of anything else, and it was not reported to the Hamilton Street Board about that. So I would like to know, if we're going to be talking about the Hamilton Street Board, we would like to make sure we're engaged in that, because we have a lot of developments to go on. Not just superficial, because this is going to be planning. And if this is federal and state money that's going to be coming down here, we would like to be involved in that conversation. And it needs to be done on a continuous basis with the Hamilton Street Board. We either need to have a representative from the Hamilton Street Board on there, not just the executive director, or one of the public people, whether or not it's Ms. Geneva Mazun or somebody else representing the Hamilton Street Board, so we can make sure we're getting our voices heard on that behalf. So I would like to make sure that that's being done. The second portion is that, the last portion I got is that from the Parks and Rec Department altogether. So I think the Parks and Rec Department won an award or arts award during the time frame. I just want to know what the process is to probably get that up on the website, just to recognize, because I know there's a video content that was actually produced by one of the representatives in the community to actually do that. I would like to actually have that highlighted, because I think it would give a good energy vibe based on a lot of stuff that's going on here, to recognize what the Parks and Rec Department's been doing. So that's it for my time at this specific time frame, and I'll yield.
Happy New Year. This is the first time I've been here this year, so I want to spend a few minutes talking about the Onyx Warehouse. All right, as you know, it's hundreds of people are protesting. But I would say about 200 people showed up at the planning board meeting about a couple of weeks ago to protest, and that's very impressive when you consider that the meeting was held at the Board of Education building, which is located on the outskirts of town, which for most people is a long drive. So 200 people made that long drive out there. Now this is the warehouse that's going to be on 785 Old New Brunswick Road. Oh, did I say my name and address?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you should have asked me.
We would at the end.
Okay. Jim Johnston, 34 Norwich Place. Okay, so sorry about that. All right, so this is the warehouse at 785 Old New Brunswick Road, across the street from the ShopRite. Now, I don't understand. There's a lot about this that they never explained to us. Now, it doesn't seem right that they should put a warehouse with 10 truck bays right smack in the middle of the busiest shopping center in Franklin. All right, there's a ShopRite there. I go to ShopRite all the time. And also, it's right across the street from a nursing home, right? A nursing home. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, I don't know. Now, I don't understand how this even happened, because I thought that building that's only half finished, I thought that was originally intended to be a small shopping center with some stores in it. But then when they got that building half finished, half constructed, somebody made a decision to change their mind, and instead of making a shopping center, they're making it a warehouse. And I don't think anyone has explained to us how or why that decision was made, because I think that having a small shopping center there would be much preferable to a warehouse. All right, I think we can all agree. And maybe put some stores in there, maybe a clothing store. We can buy some clothes, because right now, as you all know, Franklin doesn't have any clothing stores. We have to drive out of town to get some buy clothes, right? So, also a lot of people are also asking the question. A lot, or maybe all of the warehouses that have been built during the past 2 years, they're not being used. They're vacant. There's nobody there. No one's using them. Right? So we're wondering what's going on with that. All right. So and also I just want to say that this reminds me of something else that happened, because it seems that warehouses are now coming into our town, And they're not just building warehouses on vacant lots. They're taking over a thriving business. Like that's, for example, 2 years ago, that ice skating rink on World's Fair Drive, remember that Pro-Tech ice skating rink that we had over there on World's Fair Drive? That was a beautiful ice skating rink, but then 2 years ago, a warehouse developer came in and they bought it and they converted it to a warehouse. So we now no more ice skating rink. All right, and that's a shame because I like ice skating. That's one of my favorite sports. Okay, okay. So, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Hi there, good evening. My name is Marcel Rodriguez, owner of We Shop CBD at 657 Hamilton Street, taxpayer. I came to this town, I opened up my business in 2019, Woodbridge Mall, okay? It was a big deal, because, everybody was against cannabis. Franklin always supported me. I moved to East Brunswick with my store. I opened up another location. And a lot of folks from Franklin Township and North Brunswick, New Brunswick area said, hey, you should move to town. And then COVID happened, and I got shut down, okay? And in June of 2020, I came to Somerset, and a couple of the folks in the zoning department said, yeah, we'll allow, cannabis CBD products, no kratom. So we started with just CBD products. We still don't sell kratums. And we, evolved to cannabis products, so we sell an array of oils and ointments and creams and topicals and flour for people to use. Okay, so we've been the premier cannabis store in this area. I was the first, Dominican, so it's a big deal for me to get this done culturally, because in my country, I'd be in jail, okay? So thank you, America. But all of a sudden, we submitted our information because our area got a letter that we got approved in 2022 for a cannabis location. So we were allowed to sell from retail cannabis products in our letter, okay? And we submitted. I submitted with my lawyer. I paid a lot of money for it to make sure that I got this done for the people that work in my store from the community, from here, okay? As we're getting all this process done, I keep getting rebuttals from the CRC on different things that we have to update and upgrade, and we're upgrading and we're updating and we're getting it all done, and then all of a sudden, I get a letter 2 weeks ago from them stating, oh, we need town approval. I submitted town approval in 2022. Okay, I submitted paperwork that was requested in 2022. So I sent a message out to a Mr. Vincent, and I spoke with him today. He stated that he couldn't help me because the council had created a new law that stipulated 18 companies can come into our town, to this township, and open up their business. And little guys like me, who cares? But I'm here to ask, request if I could be one of these companies, because we've been open, we've been helping our community. I donate, I get involved with the church. I help my town, I help my community, my block, my area. I mean, next to our street, it was a jungle, and I tried to at least clean it up a little so we don't look like the hood, because people on Hamilton Street think that, or people that aren't from Hamilton Street but come on Hamilton Street think that they can do whatever they want and act crazy, and that's not the way it is. It's a business district that all the businesses there work together. I get support from all of my business owners around me, from the barber shop across the street, from the African shop across the next door that does hair. I get support everywhere. So I am begging you guys to give me my letter that they're requesting of me, because I've already submitted this letter once before, and now all of a sudden they want me to do this again. And this is really emotional, because this is everything to me. This is all I've done. I have a trip booked in for 2 weeks to go to another convention to make sure that I keep educating my staff and myself on these products on a regular basis. Okay, I've done every course necessary. I've taken every New Jersey CRC training that they've given me, and I've worked with the unions on the CRC. So I've done everything possible to be a good business owner and run a solid company. And all of a sudden now I need to request for a letter than I thought I had 2 years ago. So, I'm here with my lawyers to just figure out if we're saying it the right way.
Just so for clarity, Trey.
So if you're going to speak with him, then you're all together in the 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll give you extra 15 seconds because I interrupted you.
Thank you. Detroit is there. Good evening and a happy new year. Just quickly, because it's only 30 seconds. Yeah, we've been doing everything on our end. Even with the CRC, even with the changes, when they come back, it's been a wild west when it comes to this cannabis legalization in New Jersey. When they come back with new stuff that we have to update it, and they made changes, we all submitted that timely. And we then just got this letter 2 weeks ago, right? We submitted the township approval from 2022. Out of all these coming back to us saying that we need to update something, or they never did that for us, and this happened 2 weeks ago, so that's why we're here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Mayor, seeing no one else come forward, a motion to close the public portion.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public portion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. I'll let you answer about the cannabis.
I can't answer about the cannabis. You have to answer about the cannabis. I can answer about the affordable housing.
The question about the cannabis that I have is if he did submit before.
There were no approvals other than the township, the letter of support from the township. No other approvals had been granted. Your ordinance amendment required that only those cannabis facilities that had received approvals would be included in the group. This one did not.
So I guess the question really is, did they get the license approval prior?
And the answer
To the
is,
ordinance that we
if they were
enacted.
amongst the group of approvals at the time you amended the ordinance, then they would not be in the situation they were. So clearly, they did not have the approval until, and do you have your cannabis license now?
Oh,
And
you
there's
don't
the
have it.
answer.
Okay.
Only those at the time of adoption of the ordinance amendment who
Right.
had their cannabis, the Cannabis Regulatory Commission license were granted, grandfathered.
Yeah, and we enacted that ordinance because there was oversaturation of cannabis companies coming into town. And in terms of free market and demand, we thought that we needed to do that. So we capped it at 18 for all those that were already in the pipeline, that had already been approved, that had already had their license. That's what happened with that ordinance. So you don't even have your approval from the state. That's why. But you don't have it.
No.
Yeah, and there were a few more who snuck in under the wire who had approvals that the state didn't let us know about. So we actually have more than the 18.
We do.
All right.
And we have more than double any other municipality in the state of New Jersey. Sarah, we can't get into the back and forth now. I asked you questions, but the reality is, just furthering what Councilwoman Francois said, the council has adopted the ordinance amendment, and it was capped. Only those that were accepted were those that had been granted their license by the CRC.
As far as Onyx, yes, I know how many people were there. I was sitting in the second row. I'm not going to comment on the validity of a warehouse there or not. Plenty of people have. And the ice rink is a warehouse because it was not surviving as an ice rink.
It's actually still an ice rink. It was sold in 2021, but Protect Pond signs are still on the building. I go by it several times a week for my physical therapy.
I visited a couple of times, and they were really struggling.
Yeah, so the signs are still in the building, so it hasn't been converted to any other use.
Okay.
The other thing I'd just like to add to that question, Mayor, is that I have heard more than one person make statements about the distance between whatever application is being heard and the facility on Route 27. It is, as the crow flies, 5 miles. We're not talking about 50 miles. We're not talking about an hour-long commute to the building. It is literally 5 miles away from the site that's proposed to be developed. I'd hardly call that excessive, and it's a facility that's suitable in size and that can be televised without any difficulty. So I hardly consider that a hardship.
The other comment I would make is as to whether there should be a clothing store or a grocery store. We don't have a society where the government gets to plan exactly what's going to go where. People own their property, and they do with it what they think is going to be best. Do I want a warehouse there? Well, I guess I'm not going to answer that question. Would I like a clothing store there or some other a strip mall that has some things that aren't in the strip mall next door? That would be great. We don't get to choose that. People seem to think that the government gets to choose that. We don't.
And Mr. Mayor, I was just informed that Protect Ponds is slated to become a cannabis growing facility. So it won't be a warehouse. It has some other use that the state of New Jersey has regulated and allowed by law.
Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you, Vincent.
Vincent watches over us.
Yes, he does.
As far as affordable housing and that we haven't met our requirements, that's the first I've heard of that. I don't know where you got that information. Have Mr.
So
Healy.
can I just touch on that a bit?
Sure.
I think that Mr. Guy, I think you're tragically misunderstanding something that you might be reading, and you can shake your head no all you want. The New Jersey Superior Court certified and we have substantive certification on our third round obligations, which is the last round. We're now currently just entered the fourth round, in which new obligations, some of which will be a topic of a resolution tonight on the consent agenda. And you really, I think that you need to read a little bit more about what the obligations for affordable housing were under the third round, which goes back over 15 years ago. And you need to understand how not only did the township meet, but it exceeded our obligation. And that was a determination of a Superior Court judge. So while you may feel smug about thinking you know what you're talking about, you don't.
It won't be the first time you misinterpreted a document.
Probably not.
Okay, that's enough, Mr. Guy. Okay, go on and keep making mistakes. That's fine. Anyone else have any comments? Anyone else have any comments?
Mayor, I just wanted to mention any of the meetings relevant to any of these studies, because I believe Mr. Guy asked about the one on Hamilton.
Well, actually, I can bring that one up, too. I have the dates here. It's on the
Okay, I was
website.
just going to say, ask the manager. Basically, we are now, and thank you, Madam Clerk, I think I saw on the website that we now have all the studies that we're involved with somewhere listed.
I'm going to take some credit there, Councilman, not Madam Clerk.
Well, I was
Yes,
the one
they're all
who
on
pushed to
there.
get it to begin with, but we don't have to worry about who did it.
But more importantly, on the homepage of the Township website is the announcement for the upcoming meeting to be held for the Hamilton Street study that I believe Mr. Guy is referencing.
That's the one I believe, yes.
All right.
We've had, just so you know, we've had one so far.
That's not, let me just, that's
Yeah,
not
go ahead.
a streetscape study, it's a safety study.
Yes.
The posting for the Hamilton Street Safety Improvement Study meeting, which is to be held on Wednesday, February 12th from 5:30 to 7:30 here in this room, is an NJTPA funded study from the federal government. And the previous meeting was not a public meeting.
That's what I want to make sure Mr. Guy knew.
It was and there were members of the Hamilton Street Advisory Board present, but they were staff members of the township that were present.
Or council.
Or council members. I believe that the councilman was there.
Yes.
And I believe Councilman Embarson was there as well, and I believe that Councilwoman Udine was also there.
Yes.
And the mayor, weren't you there for with that meeting as well? Hamilton Street in the senior center?
Yep.
So that meeting, the public meeting is Wednesday, February 12th, 5:30 to 7:30 here in this building, in this room.
Yeah. And that's ongoing. So really, the one that's public, whether you're on the board or not, of course, all Hamilton board members are welcome, but anybody, especially
Any members
in
of
the
the public are
community,
encouraged to attend if
come,
they have an
yes.
interest in Hamilton Street, absolutely.
even if you live on the other side of town, but
Yep.
interested, because it's really, this is a monumental study, and although streetscape may be part of it, the focus is the safety and the reconfigurement, I should say, of pretty much all the key intersections. So it's going to be exciting, and 29 is these all go on anywhere from a 7 to 10 year time period, and so although 29 sounds far, we're actually probably halfway through what would be that federal period, so we can get the literally millions, tens of millions, hopefully, for the work. Thank you.
Okay. Council comments. We'll start with you, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this thing on? Yes. Basically, just one item, and I want to go through this in sort of detail because I think it's very important, and it's important because it gives you a perspective of Black history that you may not pick up anyplace else, because you're actually going to have people that represent certain individuals that you can interact with, because they're going to tell you, this is what I did, this is why I went here, instead of just reading it in a book where it's a flat page, if you understand what I'm saying, whereas here you have interactive conversation with the actors. And what I want to do is just read you a snippet of what you're going to have as an introduction. As a celebration of Black History Month, we present the Underground Experience, a walk through Black history. This interactive live museum will allow participants to journey through a maze-like environment, engaging with historical Black figures who will share their stories through monologue and with some real-time interactions. That means you as an individual, you as the group, if time permits, can ask a question as to what exactly happened at this time. And you won't get the sugar-coated type. It's going to be in your face, this is what we did. This is how it happened. Sometimes you get a history book and it'll gloss over things and not pinpoint exactly why it happened. Well, here you're going to hear exactly why it happened and where it happened. It may not flow with your history books, but sometimes things seldom do. The program overview. Unlike traditional exhibits, this will immerse you in the experience of bringing Black history to life. Actors will portray figures such as Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Satchel Paige, baseball, and Dorothy Dandridge, acting and singing. As attendees move through the spaces, they will hear powerful stories and have the chance to engage directly with the characters, making history tangible and personal. Ours will be held on February the 15th of 2025 from 2 to 6 p.m. here at the Franklin Township Senior Center. The Underground Experience is free, but you must register for your time slot. Now, as we move through the maze, only certain amount of people can move at the same time. So you might have 15 people in a group that go from A to B to C to D, followed by another group that comes by in a group of 15, a group of 10, however people register for that time slot. And not to pick anybody out, but Malik Lyons over there, through his tap-in publications, they actually have something about Brother Muhammad, who through the Sugarcane Productions actually put this together and will be there to answer all type of questions. Now, the participants will learn key periods in Black history, from the fight for civil rights to cultural contributions and the push for emancipation through figures like Rosa Parks, Duke Ellington, and Frederick Douglass. Monologues, dialogue with individuals, as I mentioned. These things will educate the mind, make you want to go outside and think and find out more information about that, because if you don't, then you're missing the point, because we want you to go find out for yourself certain things. Well, you know, how come we're still slaves? Well, this is why we were slaves, commerce. That's the only reason why we were here, because you had to pick the cotton for commerce. You had to make the money. So there's a lot of things that you'll go back and forth with through rape allegations of certain individuals, through the beating of slaves. Why were we done this way? So there's a whole lot of stuff that we want you to learn, but actually go outside and get to the book. Actually go outside and learn to immerse yourself in that type of material. I just want to say that I want to thank Tina Jala, who's our surrogate for Somerset County, through the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, which is also hosting this event, along with our Commissioner Director, Chanel Robinson, who's actually, again, on the board and is bringing this to us, along with the Somerset County Democratic Black Caucus, who are sponsoring the event. And I believe Ms. Chanel Robinson was just elected presidency of the county associations. So maybe someone else will bring that up. I didn't want to take too much time, but I want to point out that once again, our Chanel Robinson, who lives in my backyard, the 4th Ward, is moving up the ladder. So, Mr. Mayor, that will conclude me taking up so much time here. Please, you can move on down now.
Thank you. Mr. Vasanella.
Thank you. So we had a couple meetings the last couple weeks. Tonight was a public safety meeting. I'm just going to mention a couple items. I believe Councilman Karazi will also be mentioning a couple items. The crash statistics in general, just going to give you the main items. And one thing's good, it's 2,307 in 2024 versus 2,447 in 2023. So 140 less accidents. That's a great thing, or I should say crashes. Unfortunately, we had 6 fatalities in 24. As much as a lot, only 5 in 23. The thing that is unfortunate the most, in my mind, is 2023 had 444 injured, and in 2023 we had 444. In 2024, this past year, we had 534. So, quick math, I think it's like a 23% increase. So, again, it's good that the total amount of crashes have gone down, but unfortunately, the injury and fatality aspect has gotten worse. So, not going to get into a lot of it tonight. Just wanted to put out there what's there, good and bad. And I know we're making a lot of efforts, and a lot of them have been successful, but of course, we will continue to do more. We need to do more. We will do more. But people really have to do more. And not blaming the people. It's just at the end of the day, it's the drivers that create a safe or unsafe environment. And obviously, as a town and law enforcement, we'll do what we can to make our town as safe as possible. Anyway, one of the other main things, and then I'll have, I think Councilman Karazi has a few items. Good news here, Arrive Together, which is what they call alternative responses to reduce instances of violence and escalation. It's an acronym, Arrive Together, and basically that is a success story that thankfully you don't hear a lot about, because what it means is that instead of there being any kind of outcome that involves any violence, the outcomes have so far been perfect as far as not being de-escalated without any violence. And by that I mean responses that our police and law enforcement make, and they are assisted with an expert in the area when they're in the area of any kind of mental illnesses and issues of that nature with responses to calls, domestic responses. So I'm very proud of that program. Franklin was one of the first towns in the state to really go at it with it, and now you see and hear about it happening all over the state and even other parts of the country. So 278 times that has created a safer environment. Real quick, the other meeting is the council has an affordable housing committee. There's 4 council people on it. I'm one of them. I believe, I'm not sure of all of them. I know Deputy Mayor is, I think Charles. But we had a meeting, our first meeting a couple weeks ago. It was a Zoom meeting. It was staff, key members of staff, a couple of key people from the planning board, and I think are involved in the planning process, and the council, 4 council members. We're basically following, participating, shadowing, whatever you want to call it, the process of now meeting our obligation. Now that, assuming we pass this resolution tonight, it will be stated what our acknowledged amount is, obligation. Nothing about how exactly we're doing it is in the resolution, but the idea is now we start to pick, fine-tune, strategize the places, the locations. The one thing I will say I walked away from the meeting from that meeting was there seems to be a unanimous, strong effort, desire amongst not just the council people involved, but I believe planning board and staff. Everybody is optimistic because we have opportunities this time around to have more control over where the affordable housing is built, what kind is built, the density of what's being built, et cetera. So although we do have an obligation to meet, we're very excited, and we'll be meeting again in a couple of weeks to hopefully move forward some of these, I'm going to say, more progressive, more Franklin in control of the projects type of affordable housing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
Oh, you changed the order. So I'll piggyback on what I heard Councilman Vasanella say. There is some misunderstanding or misinterpretation of what was done previously in previous rounds. We're now in the 4th round of affordable housing, and there are requirements that have been handed down by the state, and we have to meet those obligations. I think that's what needs to be said tonight. I don't think what was said about misinterpretation or people misunderstanding, it's a difficult process, and we're trying to figure that out as well. But we were given a number, and based on the number we were given, Mr. Guy, it looks like some of the requirements were based on land that was vacant that cannot be developed. And so we have a consultant to work with us. We're doing a planning study. We're looking at the map holistically in the township to see where we can do affordable housing. And that's the process that we're undergoing now. And as it was said, we do have a council subcommittee that's going to be working on that and paying close attention to what's going on there, in addition to our land use subcommittee. And we also have a redevelopment agency that will also be involved in that as well, to make sure that all of the affordable housing doesn't just be landed in the redevelopment area, but spread out holistically around the township. So that's the initiative that's going on this year in terms of planning. And there will be a map at some point published to show what we already have, what's already been built, which was surprising to me because I didn't even know like Society Hill had 100 affordable housing units. That was something I didn't know about. So there's a lot going on, but everybody on this council is committed to affordable housing. We're not trying to push it under the rug. We will be open and forthright and forthcoming about what it is that we're doing. We'll keep the public involved because it's important to all of us. The other thing I wanted to mention was that you mentioned about an award. There is an award that was given by the, I don't even know what it stands for, the NJRPA. And the Youth Center did a Youth Center impact video, which is really, really beautiful. And I need to send it out to everybody in the council so you guys could take a look at it. I've been negligent, but I'll forward that to everybody in the council. And the video was developed by the children at the center, and it captures the essence of the youth center, the programming that's there, the impact it's had on the children that go to the youth center every day. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful representation of the work that's going on over at the center. And there is an award ceremony that will be held on February 25th down in Atlantic City. And we will be receiving an award, Excellence in Programming Award, based on that video that the kids produced, which it took them a while. And one of our vendor partners, Sounds of Tomorrow, Dwayne Seaton, he was the one that partnered with the children, with the kids, to produce that award. And when you see the award, council members, you'll be very proud of the youth center and what's going on there with the kids. You'll be very, very proud to see that. So
it's the New Jersey Recreation Professionals Association.
Oh, but thank you. I didn't know what that was.
That's
Okay.
what it is.
All right. I would love to go to that meeting, but of course, I
It's
have
the
a
same
road job.
organization that gave Safi Callan the Recreation Professional of the Year award several years ago.
Oh, really?
When they get the award, we'll have them here at a council meeting once they get the award, probably the first meeting in March,
Okay.
so that we can recognize them. It
That'd be
is a
nice.
big deal. And this is the first time we've actually had not just staff members work on a project that was submitted for consideration, but actually the kids from
Yeah.
the youth center.
Yeah.
So kind of a neat thing.
Okay. So I just wanted to put that plug in. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Embarrasson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just want to touch up on the affordable housing initiative. I don't know how much you know. In round 4, there were 3 parameters. A regional quota was set, and based on the 3 parameters, one is the available land to develop and the census data, and the last piece was the rateable, non-residential rateable. So they combined all those and came up with 700 plus units to Franklin. Our planner, Mark Healy, has done some extensive work with his 20 years studying Franklin. He was able to, well, the two latter parameters we cannot dispute, the census and the non-rateable, the non-residential rateable cannot be disputed. So the only thing that we could look at is the developable land, which he did. And he was able to filter out a significant portion of it. But because the number that was assigned has got 3 parts, even though our land went down, we are probably at 600 some units at this point. There would be some credits awarded to us. So we think it'll be even lower than that. We don't know. I don't think we can get more than 25% reduction because of all the credits. So we will get some reduction. I'm expecting somewhere in the 400 to 500 range eventually. So there's a resolution here to accept that study today. And then there's more. We have to submit a plan. There's a timeline for that. So planning board is going to review all our work, the staff work, and then we would have a subcommittee there. So there's a lot of things that we are doing, so we are not ignoring our mandate. Anyway, the planning board, I'm a planning board representative from the council on the 15th. Jim, I was also there on the planning board, a lot of testimony yet to be heard on the project, so we cannot comment on that as a council member as well as a planning board member. The couple of other things that we did, the 16th, the Chamber of Commerce had a networking event, so several of us were there. Deputy Mayor was on hand as well. It's a good meeting of the local businesses in town. There's good networking. The sessions happen there. So I would highly encourage other businesses to become members of the chamber and participate in the networking. It's a good thing. And then last but not least, yesterday we had a YMCA campaign review meeting. We have a new member, Councilman Karazi, joined the steering committee. So we are all hands on deck, and we are all in to bring the YMCA into town. So you will hear more about that in the months to come. That's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Onichaka.
Okay, Mayor. I want to use
Microphone.
Okay. So I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the new luxury salon we have here in Franklin, the Normal Salon. They just had their grand opening last Saturday, and I was there. Very magnificent business they opened in Franklin, which I know is going to benefit us. So it's good, and I encourage them to do their business, and they will get more customers. Two, I was at the affordable housing meeting, the first one we had last time. The meeting went very, very fine, and okay, I was very, very productive. No doubt, it shows that we are heading there, that we're going to achieve our aim. So everything went fine, and I thank Bob and Vince. They were in the meeting. They were able to explain all the things, that all the doubts we have, and encourage us in the next meeting to be prepared. Mayor, that is what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Karazi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, I wanted to mention this, that last night you were recognized for your efforts for the YMCA, and we want to thank you for your leadership and the work that you're doing behind the scenes, so I want to mention that. Follow up to what Councilman Wasanella was talking about, the public safety item. There was one item which our police director brought to our attention, and that's the registration of anybody who has an alarm system, whether or not they are connected to the central station or not. Please register with the police department. Last year, they had about 700 false alarms, and 600 of them they had not registered. And the benefit of registration is that in case the alarm goes off and the police is called, they have the information who to call and so forth. And it's only $25 one time, lifetime, $25 registration. So we highly recommend that please do it. If you don't register and the police comes, you're going to get
a summons that is a $50 fine. So
$50 fine. So
pay one time half price, or pay double the price if you don't.
Right.
Well,
so
increases though.
Well, now that's just for the registration.
That's registration. Registration is only $25. For businesses, it's $50. For house owners, it's only $25. Okay, so like most of my colleagues, I attended the Dr. Martin Luther King Foundation community breakfast, and this is just to commemorate the legacy of Dr. King, whose life dream has been or was to have a humane, just, and peaceful world. The event brought diverse community members, officials, various houses of worship, and other organizations together, and really sparked excitement of living in Franklin Township. What a great township we have, diverse township we have. So that was a great one. As my colleague, Councilman mentioned, that the February is the Black History Month, and I'm looking forward for that underground experience. By the way, the time is from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., and it's going to be on February 15th. Please don't miss, and come and register and enjoy it. The other event that I attended was the parent meet and greet of my brother keeper. And this was in the Franklin Township Municipal Court. And during this event, several Franklin High School students participated, who are participating in the MBK Franklin, along with their parents, learned more about the program. And there was a Q&A after a short presentation by several officers. And our police department is working with the MBK Alliance to have our community certified by the end of the first quarter. And I believe Councilman Francois is representing the council, and wish them all the best. And anybody who's interested about this program, they can contact our police department and ask for Officer Belvin or Gregory. A couple of health-related items. Last advisory board meeting, we had a couple of speakers from the county, and we received hundreds of lock it up card. Now, this card really provides good information about the safe storage of cannabis. So what we did, we got a bunch of them, and we're going to give to the cannabis stores so they can give this card to their customers when they purchase. In fact, I went to 2 of them, and they were very pleased, and they were very happy to receive these cards, and so we were very happy that they were going to distribute to the customers. Somerset County also is offering health screening every month in food bank, so please take advantage of that, and the information, I believe, and a date also is available on our Franklin Township website. And I attended 2 of the senior club meetings as well as the senior citizen committee meeting. And it was so great to see so many of our seniors come into the club, and they really had a good time. And I had the opportunity to talk about some of the programs that we have from the council and answer their questions. The HRC meeting, that was another meeting that we had. One thing that we're doing in HRC is exploring the possibility of installing Hometown Heroes banner flags in our township. And one of our members, Ms. Edna Argula Hitchner, which is the vice chair of HRC, has been working on this project for quite some time. And recently, she teamed up with Ms. Safi Kalan, who is the Township Special Project Manager, to move this project forward. So hopefully you'll hear more from us on this great effort. And finally, this past Sunday, there was a very unique event in our township in the Senior Citizen Building. It was called Franklin Township Community Conversation. It was sponsored by the Interfaith Council and Human Relations Commission. And it brought about 40 or so people of diverse backgrounds to discuss how to keep unity, understanding, and mutual respect, especially at challenging times. Hats off to participants, organizers, and Interfaith Executive Committee for a great gathering and team building. And the dinner was great as well. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Udine.
Thank you. Good evening. I just have a couple of things. I think most of what I'm going to mention is probably have already had council members mention them, but on January 15, the planning board meeting, I was also in attendance with the mayor and our Assemblyman Danielson. I've listened to the public making recommendations. There are things that I also took away from there to work with township manager and mayor. So I'm very interested to see how this will come through. We'll definitely be in attendance and continue to follow. On January 14th, so as council members Embarrasson as well as Vasanella mentioned about the affordable housing, as well as Ms. Francois, there's been a lot of work internally. We're still reviewing. The planning study is going on. I think there's just a lot of criteria that we have to go through. So that's being evaluated right now. We are in progress in terms of the timeline. And I think we will come out with the numbers very soon. It's just, we just have to be patient with the numbers and get the data correct. But it's in the planning state right now. And I think, at least what I'm seeing, I think there will be a lot of good things coming out of this. So just let us do the work in terms of getting the data correct and accurate, and then we will have a public discussion as well as information available for this affordable housing. This Thursday is an extremely important meeting as well. It's Master Plan Study Part 2, which is the one with the public. There's been a lot of engagement from the public on the first one, as well as I know there's going to be quite a bit of information on Thursday. This is in regards to the traffic findings, really to the BI zone. It's going to be held here at 7 p.m., and I'll be in attendance as well. So please mark your calendars for that meeting. And the other thing is I was also attending a Dunkin' Donuts opening. So it's a remodeling. They were already open. I think they did some renovations, and they wanted to do an opening in that in the Easton Ave one. And they have donated $3,000 to our food bank, which was really nice to see, as neighbors are helping neighbors and being part of that donations of handing off the check to the food bank team. As Councilman Embarrasson mentioned, Franklin Township Chamber of Commerce held their monthly event, which I was also part of. And these are the resources and tools. If you're a local business, I would suggest that you look into our township websites, as well as these groups that are really out there to help and mentor and support our local businesses. So if you look at our township website, there's a lot of events. I know I get asked sometimes, like, what's happening around town. There are a lot of programs, and they're all pretty much mentioned in the township website. You can just log in from your phone and see what's happening in town. With that being said, I do want to give some thank yous to a lot of the residents that have reached out to me from the last meeting, just asking me about my recovery. I did have a fall injury, and I'm just still recovering from that. So thank you for the sweet messages and comments that you have sent out. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. There was a Financial Oversight Committee meeting last night, actually. We began to discuss the budget. We're probably going to be constrained most by our health insurance costs. So we've got a lot of scratching our heads to do to make the budget work. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things to report on some events upcoming. One on next Wednesday, February 5th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Senior Center. St. Peter's University Hospital Community Health Services will be doing blood pressure and blood sugar screenings. No fasting is required, but appointments are. You can contact the Recreation Department at our main number, 873-2500, extension 6347. That's 6347. Senior Center blood pressure and blood sugar screenings. Just some additional information to just clarify some things regarding affordable housing and what actions are to be taken. Tonight on the agenda is the filing of the resolution to be considered is to file our answer to the state's assertion on our fourth round affordable housing obligation. In particular, the obligation was presented at 714 for the next 10 years of the fourth round. After an analyzation, and Councilman Embarrasson kind of got this right on the number, the components of the formula were exactly as Councilman Embarrasson stated. The the developable land is really the only thing that could be evaluated. The state of New Jersey identified a little over 400 acres of developable land in the areas of the township that are affected by this particular fourth round. And after a review of all the parcels, there are about over 200 parcels, only a little more than 200 acres was identified as actually developable. The reasons why the other parcels were accepted from developable land are things like preserved county open space, detention basins in existing developments, parcels that have already received development approval, parcels that have already been developed, township open space, township preserved farmland, utility right-of-ways. And so all things where there could be no development, and while these parcels identified by the state are not necessarily being identified as being suitable for affordable housing, it's an indicator of available land so that comparisons could be made in our region from municipality to municipality, given the fact that there's a wide variety of sizes of municipalities, ranging from as small as a town like Millstone Borough, less than a mile square, all the way up to, in Middlesex County, Woodbridge and Edison, which exceed Franklin Township in size, as does Hillsborough in Somerset County. The three counties in our region are Hillsborough, Hunterdon, Somerset, and Middlesex counties. So once the new developable land number was put into the formula that the state developed, it brought the number from 714 to 623. The number is a regional number divided down into municipal numbers, the regional number coming from an overall state number, so that each municipality in the state is given a number that is literally their fair share of the whole number, so that no one municipality shoulders a burden over and above any other municipality as it relates to housing. Because it's not really only, this is as it relates to affordable housing, but it really relates in a bigger picture to housing overall. One town shouldn't be overcrowded as far as residential development is concerned versus another town that tries to preserve their entire town as open space. This is to kind of make sure that every town shoulders their fair share of affordable housing. So that's the product that will be looked at today, is just the number. The next part of the process, which some council members touched on, is our affordable housing plan. That plan will be developed over the next several months to tell the state of New Jersey how we intend to meet our obligation. That report is required to be filed with the state of New Jersey by June 30th. So those are the deadlines that we're under. And this action is telling the state of New Jersey, we don't agree with your number, and here's the reason why, and providing them with the report, and here's what we believe the number should be. And then the next part is the affordable housing plan. So, okay.
Thank you. Well said. There's no council discussion item tonight.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to add one thing. I'm sorry, I got distracted by that, and that I think is important. Over the last several days, the township has received some inquiries from people who are concerned about the recent happenings in the state of New Jersey as it relates to immigration status and immigration enforcement. Without going into any great detail here, on our website, in the news, and it will be there for as long as it needs to be, and also distributed through social media platforms, are forms that were created by the state of New Jersey to address what it is that those who are concerned need to know about the rights for individuals and businesses in the state of New Jersey as it relates to immigration and customs enforcement. And what I would say is, I recognize that it's highly unlikely that anyone in this room or anyone necessarily listening on the TV when they hear this meeting, they probably are not the ones who are concerned about immigrants' rights and what to do if confronted with immigrations and customs enforcement. But maybe you know people who are, and maybe you know who people who are concerned about it. I'd ask you to share with them the information that's included. It's in English and Spanish on our website, both forms not only for individuals, but forms for businesses who might have to deal with this in the future. It's good information. To be honest with you, it's good information for everybody because it kind of tells you what you have to do when confronted with law enforcement. And everyone, whether you're a United States citizen or not, is afforded certain rights in this state and in this country that it doesn't matter what your status is here. And I used the example in a meeting today. If someone comes here from England and is visiting on vacation and is confronted with law enforcement, they're afforded the same rights that an American citizen is. So it doesn't matter what your immigration status is. You have rights, and these forms, they spell that out. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that. There's no council discussion item, no minutes to approve. We do, however, have to pay our bills. So the warrants in the amount of $5,852,611.86 on January 28th are presented to Township Council for payment. Do I have a motion on the warrants?
So moved. Seconded.
And seconded. Anyone want to pull an item, discuss an item?
On the consent agenda?
No, on the warrant.
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Basanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
There's no public hearing or adoption for second reading. There's no first reading. Now, Mr. Wright, is the consent agenda. Items A through R as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Anyone but Mr. Wright want to discuss anything?
Yes, please. Resolution.
Your mic, your microphone.
Resolution 25062, award 2025 recycling agreement with Somerset County, $27.60 per household. I was wondering if the township manager don't have to go into crazy detail, but just tell us so the people in Franklin Township know exactly why you're recycling here, and which is a beautiful thing because up in Irvington, they give you little blue buckets that you put things in, and you never know why or where or what's going on because we're not as transparent as we are. So what I want to find out is exactly how did that work so people understand.
So we're along with the other 20 municipalities in the county, in a shared service agreement with Somerset County to provide recycling for paper products, cardboard, and all the things that we recycle here in the county on an annual basis. And each residential household costs the township that number, $27.60, I think it is, something like that?
Yep.
All right, $27.60 annually. There's about, I think, 23,000 or so residential units here in Franklin Township. So do the math. 23,000 times 2760 gets us to, I don't know, about $700,000, $800,000 a year it costs the town to have our recycling picked up and sent to recycling facilities by Somerset County.
Thank you.
Anyone want to discuss any other item?
Just one thing, Resolution 25-069. I know there's been a lot of new members in town, and this is the fourth round, so just want to get clarification. I know our township manager has mentioned it to me before, but how long was the last one that we did? 2018, you said, I think?
No, it was, so the third round goes back to 2000?
Yeah, it goes back a ways.
Yeah. I think that so there was a number of legal challenges over the years to COA. Governor Christie abolished COA, which is the Coalition on Affordable Housing. That was the overseer of the first round and second round and most of the third round. Ultimately, the court stepped in and evaluated each municipality's efforts to meet their third round obligations. Again, Franklin Township received substantive approval from the Superior Court on our third round obligations. I guess that was during the time when I was the township manager. I want to say 2014, 2015, somewhere around there is when we received approval on our third round obligations. It's taken until now for the state to develop a method to determine, and this time, for the first time, it's by statute law, not by regulations promulgated by the state. So the statutes now determine the formula and the method moving forward and the time frames involved in things like answering the state's number for obligation, filing of report, appealing of our numbers, and all the things that go along with it. So it's much cleaner than it's ever been in the history of the state, going back to Mount Laurel 1, but we're on a tight timetable.
Thank you. I think that information is really important for at least folks that have recently come in our town and don't know the history behind how long it's been and what we have done so far. So that's great information. Thank you for clarifying.
And I can tell you that there are very, very few towns in the state of New Jersey that have met their obligations under rounds 1, 2, and 3. In fact, there are towns that have yet to meet their first round obligation.
Wow. Thank you.
I just wanted the township manager to say that we were ahead of the curve.
Yes.
Because we did have more affordable housing built. Ms. Francois and I were on the redevelopment agency, and one of the things that we did was make sure that our developer made sure that they kept moving along with affordable housing. So we were ahead of the curve, but now with this fourth round popping up, we got to basically start all over again. But this did bite into that number that we don't have to move into. So,
but our efforts as far as affordable housing go back to 1986. In 1986, as part of Mount Laurel 1 and the first round of affordable housing obligations, the pre-construction sale of affordable units in Society Hill 1, which is Pear Tree and Crabapple Lanes, went up for sale. People waited in line for days in their cars outside the sales trailer for Society Hill 1 affordable units. And that was 1986. And Franklin Township has been answering the call for affordable housing since then. So
And just to add to that, they were also online, I think, sleeping overnight just to get a regular unit.
Absolutely.
It was like a lottery because back then there was very few condos, and it was a opportunity for younger people usually, and I say that, It wasn't an affordable unit, but some of my family
Right.
members.
Market units
Bought their
pre-construction were
first condo.
$58,000 apiece.
Condos got very popular, but.
Police department had to provide security.
It also was a great way to keep up with our affordable housing, but that is true, that we were
Yep.
doing it before
Yeah.
most towns even were talking about it.
In fact, WNYC did an article about our town. They interviewed myself and the manager about why do we do so well with affordable housing? And the reason I gave is because we agree with it, and there was an argument about how much we had to build, but there was never an argument about who we were building it for. Some towns try to block it because they don't want certain people coming into that town. Well, we have all those certain people already. We welcome them, and we're proud to have them and proud to build these affordable housing. The drawback is that sometimes you have to build a lot of marketplace houses to get the affordable housing in, and that means more development.
And there was a time that municipalities were allowed to sell their obligations to other towns who were willing to
RCAs,
take them up.
RCAs,
That's right.
regional contribution agreements. But
Yep.
Mayor, just to end on a positive note, although I'm not.
Hello, Newark, because Newark was the one of them, the biggest one in town.
The thing you mentioned about, unfortunately, density is an issue. We've had some may suggest even giving away a little too much in decades past. That's why I was saying we're much more optimistic in as much as we have the opportunity to control. So whether people agree with prior decisions on density, because I think mostly everybody embraced it, and I'm glad you brought that up. Density is an issue and a concern, and this time we will be hopefully in much, much more control of that. So I'm going to leave it on that positive note, but we've had a long, but I think proud, almost case study record. If someone looked at Franklin for 40 years, and I could say that proudly, a little confused decades ago before I understood what it all was, but we've been doing a heck of a job for 40 plus years with that.
Yep. Any other items?
Yeah, there are. Cross-acceptance plan.
Yeah.
Pick somebody.
That's an item to be voted on separately.
Oh, is it on
Yeah.
separately?
Yes.
Because I'm just looking on my computer, I didn't see it separately there.
So anything else on the consent agenda? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Item number 16, resolution, items to be voted on separately. There's two of them, 250606, authorize intent to participate in state plan cross-acceptance process for Somerset County and appoint members to the state plan cross-acceptance committee, is presented to the Township Council for adoption. This came in late. We have to pick, in total, we have to pick 5 members to be on this committee. One of the members is staff, so the manager picks that person. It'll be Mr. Healy. Another member is the mayor or his representative. Well, I'll make that easy. It'll be me. The planning board chairman or his representative, it's going to be the planning board chairman. And then there's 2 seats still to fill. One will be a council person, and the other will be a citizen at large. I suggest for the council person, Mr. Barrison, because he's on the planning board. If anyone else wants to do it, speak now.
There's just one, right?
Just one.
Just one.
Okay. No, if Councilman wants to do that, that sounds appropriate. If you need an additional person, I'll gladly volunteer.
By the way, I can't imagine this committee actually ever meeting. There's 5 people per municipality. There's over 500 municipalities. It's going to be a big auditorium to fit everybody. But maybe I'm wrong.
Are you offering Franklin to host it?
Yeah, it'll be in my living room. So,
What does the committee do? What's it responsible for?
So this is a plan, the State Planning Commission, this is the statewide, we'll call it the statewide master plan for lack of a better
okay.
term. And most of the work is done by the state, but this is input from municipalities throughout the state on the update to the state plan. And for the most part, it's handled at the county level. In fact, that's why you'll see that within this resolution, it basically says that Somerset County will act as the negotiator for all of Somerset County, Somerset County Planning Department. It really is, in discussing it with Mr. Healy, he said that it's highly unlikely that there will be any meetings. There might be some correspondence
Yeah.
with members.
Okay.
and then for the citizen member, Mr. Vornlocker and I bumped our heads together and outsprung the idea of Ted Chase for the citizen member. But if someone else has a suggestion,
No, that's fine. Does he even know?
I don't think
that
so.
we're
A message,
pouring the poor guy?
a message has been left for him.
He's being drafted.
I'm sure Ted will just shake his head and say, what choice do I have now?
No, he'll be honored to do that.
He will be.
Yeah.
But if any,
No, I assume Councilman Francois. I was
So that-
just joking because he, if anything related to these type things, we usually put him, whether he knows it or not.
So
Anyway,
previously, this
sounds good.
statewide cross-acceptance plan was what was one of the, it was the creator of the Kingston Village Advisory Committee. So Councilman Chase is familiar with it, former Councilman Chase is familiar with it, and there was an involvement on the part of KVAC in the past.
Okay.
so I kind of pushed those two names in front of you. I want to offer the opportunity for
I make
anyone.
a motion to approve.
Second.
Yes, seconded.
Okay. Moved in,
Thank you.
seconded. So we've moved and seconded. Any other discussion on this resolution? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Resolution 25070, authorized developers agreement, EWA, Somerset 400, owner LLC, 400 and 600 Atrium Drive, block 468.01, lots 21.06 and 21.24 is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So, second.
Moved and seconded. I just saw this when I sat down here.
What is it?
What is it?
So what this is a developer's agreement for the company that is developing a property on Atrium Drive that was formerly a office building, and the developer's agreement calls for them to make certain improvements to Atrium Drive.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
We have one. We got one.
Second already.
We did it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Resolution 25071, appointment to the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee and Cultural Arts Council is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. So I just learned about this when I turned the page. Who are we appointing?
That was what
Hold on.
the list was sent by the clerk to everybody.
So I'll just chime in here.
Where's,
So I believe that you know who is steering the Cultural Arts Committee these days?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, once again, we have members on our Cultural Arts Council who have never been appointed by you, including now the vice chair.
Who's that?
So, I don't know the name off the top of my head. It's one of the people who are on this resolution that came to light today. And so for those of you who know who is intimately involved with the Cultural Arts Council, I would ask you to please once again speak with him about
Resignations and appointments, yeah, because a whole bunch of people resigned and we didn't know until
Resignations
today.
and appointments, and the need for the township council to be the one who makes the appointment.
Okay, and what about the senior citizen advisory?
That's your annual appointments of the people from the senior clubs that get appointed to it.
The officers of the various senior clubs,
Oh, okay. All right.
now that they've had their reorg meetings.
Yes.
Yeah, we had it last week, actually, so we're good.
All right, any other discussion on this? Madam Clerk?
So-
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine? Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Old business, 2025 boards, committees, and commission vacancies. Anyone have a nomination?
Mr. Mayor, actually, we got a nice email today from Anne Marie, and she has all the list and also several resumes. And so, at least on my part, I have a few of them, but it's going to be discussed next meeting.
Okay. Anyone else? Let me just read off the boards that we have openings on. Advisory Board of Health, Advisory Rec Council, Cultural Arts Council, Hamilton Street Advisory Board, Housing Authority, Human Relations Commission, Redevelopment Agency, Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, though it seems that, is that still open?
This is your separate appointment where it's a non-senior citizen member.
Oh, okay. Trails Advisory Committee. There is no executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Be well, Franklin. Thank you, Vincent.